All right.
All right. Welcome to the whatever
I
the
mean,
fuck we're gonna call this podcast. We'll figure that out later. Where we talk
uh,
all things we enjoy, being competitive COD, regular COD, golf, and whatever else comes to our mind.
basically it.
So
Best way to put it.
we'll just jump straight into the CDL Major one then.
First, first thing we got to talk about NYSL
Yeah, New York Subliners. Not
from
not a
Grand
strong,
Champ.
yeah, not a strong showing for the Grand Champs.
No, from Grand Champs to winning one map. It's that's quite the turnaround. Uh, I wouldn't even say 180. they
They fell off a cliff.
they fell off Mount Everest. They went they went skydiving without the parachute.
And I know they felt the need to pack a punch with this offseason with FaZe getting Draza and Ultra getting Envoy and Optic getting Kenny and Pred. But I
But at
really
the same
think
time,
they messed up dropping Priesta. I do.
you don't fix what's not broken. That's
Well,
been the saying as long as I've been around. You
I
win
mean,
grand champs, you get the chemistry going, you keep the team together.
obviously Envoy just tied Priesta in this major because, congrats to Toronto Ultra. They win the major with dropping only two maps the whole major. But before that, Priesta was the winningest player in the CDL era, and you just drop him for a guy who's won one time. I mean, I get it. Sib's a phenomenal player. He's a talented player, but
He put on a good personal showing,
they didn't
but it's
necessarily
just not enough.
need more slaying power in the CDL. They needed somebody that was going to do the dirty work, that was going to be on rotations, that was going to be doing this, and it showed.
You can only win so much, so many game modes by just outslaying your opponent. And
Exactly.
I mean, it showed. Well, only winning one map,
Yeah,
that
they
it
got
showed.
them 3-0'd to the Rocker and Thursday winners round one.
And
And then
then
they fall to the Ravens Friday. And I really thought, okay, it's the Ravens. They've won one match in the online split. Subliners will bounce back right here, and they just didn't, man. But shout out to Clay, cause dude's still kicking.
I I think that team's gonna pull something off this year. I don't.
Um,
I'm not necessarily saying grand champs, but with the leadership of Clay, the experience of Clay being there,
yeah,
and you
but
got TJ.
adding Fellow really like the difference in Clay's playstyle since Fellow joined the roster has been just absolutely phenomenal. Really,
Let's see, CJ or TJ, not CJ.
TJ Howard.
Uh, he's a world champion, isn't he?
No,
Did he not get one?
no, he's not. He doesn't have a ring. I don't believe. Um, but he's played with some of the greats. He's teamed with Crim Six and Karma and Scump, Black Ops 4.
Yep.
He knows what he's
I guess he
doing.
never did get a
He
ring.
he's an S&D mastermind, but I mean, unless you have anything else to say on subliners, that's kind of all I've got. We'll go ahead and we'll just start up here back in winners round one, day one of major one.
Another team I do want to talk about is Optic. I know you got a two-time on your team. I just don't think he's him. I do not think that Shotzi's him. Shotzi has two rings, one in Halo, one in COD. He won with Dallas Empire. I don't think he is the one to lead the team. He
I
has a winning mindset, but
I
I
wouldn't go
don't
that
think.
far. I don't think the optic struggles are within the roster. I think it's more of meshing their playstyles together and figuring out S&D
I'm
because
not saying it's with the roster. I'm saying you don't stand behind his leadership.
I guess I could see where you're coming from,
I
but
think if anyone's captain on that team, it should be Kenny. Kenny is one of the best players in the league.
yeah, I can agree with that. I'm a Kenny stan. I've been rooting for Kenny my whole life as a resident LA Thieves fan. So I've been a Kenny guy my whole life. But you, I mean, when you're talking optic, I mean they get the bounce back 3-0 against the Miami Heretics after getting 3-0'd by the Miami Heretics in the online split. They then play FaZe in winners round two, and if they could just win an SND, they would have won the series. I mean, Optic took both the hard points off of FaZe
Yeah.
to get Neslo'd. So they lose to FaZe, they drop to the Rocker, World Star the Rocker for top three, and then go into elimination final against FaZe and get beat again. This time only taking one map off of FaZe. So I think Optic really needs to work on that control and their SNDs.
I don't even know what to say about FaZe either. Like they come in a 9-1 search team. And Toronto just
I
they
mean,
came in what 5-3 in search. Toronto did.
yeah, but you cannot compare the Toronto Ultra to anybody right now. They're in a league of their own.
I don't. They're they're turning up, but they might be peaking too early.
The Toronto Ultra lost two maps this whole split.
Yep.
That's it. Lost two maps. We lost a map to FaZe in winners finals and a map to FaZe in the grand finals. And if I'm not mistaken, it was two invasion controls. You might double check me on that. But to only lose two maps in the whole thing is
Let's see.
pretty interesting to me.
I can't find it, but I think that's what it was.
So, regardless, I mean, when you want to talk about FaZe, they looked good against LAG and they looked good against Optic. And it just looked like an amateur team playing Toronto Ultra. And sadly, Toronto Ultra did that to everybody this weekend. So, well, let's talk about Toronto Ultra's performance at the major. So they come out Thursday.
3-0
Yeah,
Seattle.
they come out Thursday 3-0 against Seattle.
Minnesota
Saturday, they
3-0.
3-0 Minnesota. Sunday, 3-1 FaZe. And then 4-1 FaZe. There's really not a whole lot left to say there. I mean, they came out, beat the brakes off of everybody involved. And, I mean, clearly looked like the best team. Like, if I ranked all these teams right now, Toronto is S+, FaZe is S, Optics A, and then the rest are C and below. Like, this is a three-team league the way this major shaped out.
Let's see. Think it. So
I
you
mean,
got
we
Ultra winning. You got FaZe in second. Optic third, Rocker fourth, Gorillas, Surge 5-6.
Yep.
7-8 is Legion, Ravens.
Yep. And then 8
Not,
through
then you got 9 through
12
12.
is
LA,
LAG,
Miami, Boston.
Miami, Boston, and New York. I mean, let's talk the miracle run of the Minnesota Rocker for a second though. They come out and they stun us all by 3-0ing the New York Subliners, right?
Yep.
They show up against the Toronto Ultra, which was just an unfortunate bracket side for them because they were playing hot enough that I don't know, they might have been in winners final. They drop down and hold off the reverse sweep, I believe, if I remember correctly, of the Los Angeles Guerrillas. And after going 0-4 to start the split, they end up top 4 in the major, with losing only to the Ultra and to Optic. I mean, they gotta be feeling pretty happy about that.
I think they're finally getting their chemistry.
Yeah, I think it was a team that was made up of a bunch of players that hadn't really played well together. Got a couple of new guys in Lins, which I think is right now my favorite for Rookie of the Year, playing phenomenal Call of Duty. And obviously you've got the Iceman, Lamar, accuracy. He's a vet, you know what he's going to give you. He's not going to go out there and drop 1.5s every series, but he's going to lead your team. He's going to do the dirty work. He's going to be in the hills. He's going to make your calls. He's going to do all the things that you need him to do to free up guys like Lins to just absolutely go off.
You got Vivid and Awakening on that team too.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
you got a little bit better of a showing from Big Wake here in the major than you did online. I'd still like to see some more out of Big Wake.
I think there's more to come.
I'm
I think
hoping
he's gonna peak at the right time.
I'm hoping Big Wake can figure it out because he's a good player and deserves a spot in this league. And I think that Rocker team can, with a little nudge, get over that hump and maybe find themselves in a third place match.
I mean, we obviously know anything is possible too.
Right. I mean, look at
NYSL was not supposed to win last year.
no,
They were not
they were
favored
not
by
the
anything.
favorites. They won it out of the losers bracket. The other one that comes to my mind is that LAG miracle run out of the losers bracket in Vanguard. The Slasher, Hook, Spart, and who was their fourth? My goodness. I can't even remember, but that lower bracket run in Major 2 of Vanguard, where the Gorillas beat FaZe in the grand finals. Anything can happen on any given day in Call of Duty. It's
Yeah.
like the Miami Heretics. Everybody thought they were the third, maybe fourth best team in the league, and they come out and don't win a map at the major. And go home and they drop Journey for Eric Boom. So I'm excited to see, you know, I didn't sell all my stock in the Vamos train, but I sold majority of it. Let's see what they do though, because I'm excited to have some international representation still in the league. I was actually quite disappointed when we lost, London to becoming Carolina and Paris to Vegas, because there's more than just the United States in COD. It's fun to have a COD league with world representation in it. So
There's
I'm
quite a I'm looking at the rosters right now. You got a Miami.
Is all Spanish. They're all
It's all
Spanish.
Spanish.
So
You got
they
a couple
are limited
Canadians.
to the pros, I guess, technically, that they want to pick up because, they have to be a Spanish speaking player. But I think for Miami, the last thing I have to say on this is I think it was just some land rust that they weren't ready for. They had to just shake it off. They haven't been in the league since 2018 with Black Ops 4, 2018, 2019 Black Ops 4. And a lot of these guys have just been stuck in challengers and haven't played in the CDL. So we'll just say it was a little, like ring rust, and hopefully they come in with Major 2 with a chip on their shoulder, and we get the best Miami Heretics that there is.
I know you don't want to talk about it. I know you don't want to talk about it. What happened to your boys?
Oh, the thieves, man, the thieves. You know,
I know you don't want to talk about it. We got
to put it bluntly, they needed to get Dan Ghosty some help, and they did. They've already made a two-man roster change. So I don't fully agree with it, but I'm gonna trust the minds over there at the Thieves camp. J-Cap and Shane, they coached the boys into winning a world championship in Vanguard. They know how to build a roster. J-Cap won too as a player. He knows Call of Duty. I'm gonna trust him. But we part ways with Cammy, who was a phenomenal player in Cold War and just hasn't been able to find his stride really in the league since then. And I was high on the team coming into the year because it had potential with Cammy and Ghosty being our ARs and Joe Deceives and Afro, but they just never clicked. They couldn't quite figure it out. And we replaced Joe Deceives with Crimp, who just won the Challengers Cup in Boston on the FaZe Black team, and we bring in Nasty, another, European AR that has been frying in challengers. So I'm excited to see the dynamic that those two can bring in and see if maybe we can't get a couple more wins out of it this next split. But you also have to understand that the LA Thieves were one of those teams that were dealing with budget cuts this year. So this is, in the words of Nate Shot, in professional sports that have been around for 100 years, it's easier to deal with a rebuild because, your team's bad, then you get a first round draft pick at the top of the year. And, well, in esports, that's not really a thing. So your rebuilds for a year when your team's bad, it can be insufferable. But I think with a little bit of the change in the roster, the change in the game that's coming, because this was old patch. There's hard points, basically a brand new game mode now with all the hill changes and everything. I think the LA Thieves will be just fine. But when you can't win a hard point, you're going to get first rounded because you couldn't win a hard point, so you're not going to win very many series online, and you're going to start losers bracket, and you're going to get fed to the wolves.
they just gotta they gotta figure it out, man. I
Yeah, they
think
do.
JCap will get them good. I
Uh,
think JCap will get them good.
yeah, and JCap we trust, so we'll see what they can do, and from
And I
there,
think
I mean, there's
I
also
think
a
Optic
there's also a
is gonna.
mental block with LA Thieves playing the LAG, because if you look at the record, I believe it's like 1 in 10 now, 1 in 11 in favor of LAG. I think LAG's wins, they own the matchup of LA. Even though LAT has been the better team per se, the matchup against LAG has not really ever gone in their favor.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean, you might look that up and fact check me on that, but I do believe it's like 1 in 11 or something like that is the Battle of LA record favoring LAG. But I am not a Fairwater fan. I will I will stick to my thieves, winning or losing. And I'm going to trust JCap to get them right.
I'm not gonna trust Reddit on anything. I can't find it though.
Yeah, but it's something like that, and it happens. But LAG beat the Thieves after losing after losing 3-0 to FaZe, they come down and they 3-1 the Thieves and move on to elimination round 2. They 3-2 the Vegas Legion. Mind you, that is a reverse sweep, and I believe the third time this year that the Vegas Legion have been reverse swept, because they were reverse swept by the Carolina Royal Ravens, they were reverse swept by Optic, and now they've been reverse swept by the LAG. So
Damn.
the Vegas
That's
Legion need to figure out what's going on there and close out these series, because that's points they're leaving up on the table, and that come down to it, there's not as many majors this year to qualify before qualifying for champs, and
you
got to
got
be on top of
Standy.
it.
You got Standy, Attach, Narrow, and Purge on that team.
And I do believe that changes are being made for Standy. That's the rumor in the rumor mill right now.
I don't.
Which
I'll
does not
disagree
make
with that.
sense to me when you have a player like Purge who drops a .47 against the Miami Heretics. Yeah, they still win the series, but that's only because Journey was right there with him. They were basically playing 3v3. But he had a little bit of a better series against the Gorillas, and he is a rookie. It's his first time in the league, so I don't want to hate on him too much. But if Purge is going to stay on that team, man, he's got to figure something out. He's got to change his game. He's got to do something.
If I remember correctly, Standy was with Ultra last year.
He was with Ultra for Major 1 and Major 2 and was
Yes, and then
dropped.
with the Legion.
He was dropped after Major 2. Toronto picked up Kleenex going into Major 3. They win Major 3. And I do not believe Standy was in for most of Major 3, and he was picked up by the Legion going into Major 4.
He was there. He signed with Legion March. So, the dates better than I do.
I want to say that was more around Major 4 time. I don't really remember, to keep it 100% with you. But, Vegas Legion, they win a match to avoid the 8th through 12th placing, and then get reverse swept by LAG. Not much really to talk about there with Vegas. Or LAG move on and get 3-2'd by the Minnesota Rocker. And, not much to really talk about on that series either. But then we drop down into, let's talk Seattle Surge here for a second. Because the Seattle Surge are an interesting team to me. I don't like the composition of this team. I don't. They get 3-0'd by Ultra in winners round 1, and they drop down and beat Boston in a game 5. But Abuza is not a sub player, and if you watch the Seattle Surge play, their best maps are when Abuza has an AR in his hands.
Yeah.
And they're really good at search and destroy, and that's when Abuza has an AR most of the times. And Illy is obviously a phenomenal S&D player, and I'm happy to see Illy back in the league after last year. Hoping that his hand will stay good and that he can, continue to deliver results, because he's a fun player to watch and to have in the league. But I think we got to talk about the elephant in the room for a second with the Seattle Surge. and it's a player that I like, and a player that's delivered heartbreak to me, being an LA Thieves fan, and that's Arcides.
Two-time.
The two-time Arcides. He is just not playing well for that Seattle Surge squad right now. Not at all. And, there's rumors that the Seattle Surge are making a change, and some of the rumors I've seen have said potentially Illy's out. Some of the rumors I've seen have said potentially it's Abuza that is out, which if Abuza is out, as an LA Thieves fan, I don't care what you do. You drop Nasty and you get Abuza in there right now. Put him on AR. And let that boy fry, because he is different.
I mean, shit. You've got 3 players on the Seattle team who've all experienced winning world championship. They know how to win.
Yeah, Illy and Hook won together with the Dallas Empire.
Yeah,
Arcides
Illy, he
won,
won 2020.
and so did
Hook,
Hook.
also 2020. Arcides
Arcides won
won 1921.
2019 and in
2021.
2021 with the Atlanta FaZe. But I think there should have been some red flags with the Arcides when he was dropped by Atlanta FaZe and he went down to the LAG, and they were one of the worst teams in the league. Because if you look at both of Arcides' rings, who did he play with to win those rings?
He was Chicago Huntsman.
He did not win a ring in the Chicago Huntsman. He won a
In
ring in
2019?
in 2018. It would have been the roster you're looking at. It would have been what were they? Their names.
E United.
E United with Simpanabizi, Clayster, and Pristini, I believe was the roster that beat that 100 Thieves team of Enable, Slasher, Octane, Kenny, and Priesta. And then in 2021, he played with Simp and Celium and Abizi, who those 3 players alone have dominated since the CDL's inception in 2019. So, Arcides, brother, you need to just take your time to figure out what's going on, and you need to return to your championship playing form, because we know you're a great player and we've all seen you be a great player, but you haven't really shown it without the great players around you. Because they lose 3-0 to the Toronto Ultra, they come down to the losers bracket. They beat the Breach 3-2. They beat the Carolina Royal Ravens 3-2. And playing Optic, they just get absolutely shut out 3-1. So
Yep.
there may be changes on the horizon for the Seattle Surge, so we'll see. And maybe with the way the game has changed and hardpoint and stuff, and with the new maps coming in, we'll see if they still can be a competitive team that will find themselves in winners to start Major 2.
I think Major 2 comes around. I think Toronto doesn't make top 3.
You don't think Toronto's going to get top 3 at Major 2? That's bold. Okay, so we'll talk Major 2 predictions in a second, but let's finish out real quick with the last couple of teams here at Major 1 and their performances. The Boston Breach getting first rounded at their home major.
I mean, you had Priesta.
You have
Amazing.
Priesta, you have Slasher, world
You have
champions.
Snoopy.
Snoopy, their young gun that they're excited to build around.
Yes.
And you have Capsule.
I think Cap's gone.
Well, for this major, you had Priesta, you had Snoopy, you had Slasher, you had Capsule.
Yeah. But now
And
you drop Cap.
well, and part of the reason why I believe that they did that is the way Slasher and Priesta it in their S&D, the way they like to play, they play a lot slower. Because Slasher plays the pick style S&D. Get a pick,
Yeah,
get the
Cap.
bomb down, and Cap is in your face and he
Fast-paced.
likes to fly. But so does Snoopy. They both are really fast, And this game is just punishing to the fast SMG players. I mean, look at Abizi, look at Shotzi, look at Hydra. These guys are not putting up the same numbers that they put up last year in a game where they could fly at you and be in your face.
You're not going to be able to. You got to. This is
And
very. We've been playing a lot. It's a very slow,
yeah,
pick your route.
methodical game, and I think that the change that they made is very necessary. They're bringing in, I believe, another veteran player in it, Asim. He's a slower SMG player that will pick up the routes and do the dirty work. That will free up Snoopy to, get a little more aggressive and find timings to get it in your face better than what they had.
They have Asim. He's been in the league
Several
6
times
years
now.
now.
Yeah,
6
several
years now.
times. He's
And now.
he's a veteran player.
FaZe Black, FaZe Clan, Minnesota Rocker, Subliners, LAG,
That's
Royal
who,
Ravens.
that was the fourth on that LAG squad that made the run in Vanguard.
2021 is whenever he was on LAG. 21 to 22. He was there for a year.
Yeah, Vanguard year.
Yep. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen much of him. So I'm just now getting into the whole watching CDL and all that. So I haven't seen too much of him, but he's got experience. I mean,
And he's played with Slasher before, so there's already a little bit of team chemistry there. And I believe he's played with Priesta before. I think they were both in Minnesota at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. But, we'll see what they can do.
I think Priesta Slasher they need to get on the same page, and that once those two click, everything around them will click.
And then the last thing I want to talk about coming out of Major 1 with Atlanta FaZe. These guys just got to find a way to finish tournaments.
It's been a problem for
Ever.
a few years now. Quite a few years.
Cold War, they won a lot. And then
We can take it even further back than that. We can take it back to Optic Legacy.
yeah, I mean, obviously, second place for FaZe has haunted them for a long time. But let's talk CDL here for a second. Cold War, they dominate. They win a bunch. They win champs. They stick together. They come into Vanguard. Second to Optic in Major 1. Second to LAG in Major 2. They get third in Major 4. I don't really know much about Major 3 at Vanguard, but they get third in Major 4 because they lost to the Thieves twice. And second at Champs in Vanguard because they lost to the Thieves twice.
Major 4, they got third.
Yep.
Major 3, they got second.
Who beat them in Major 3?
Yeah, let's see. I'm clicking on this. Seattle Surge.
That's right. Yep, because that's where Pred and Sib got their tournament win at.
Yep.
So and then you move into
Major 2, you get second. Major 1, you get second. You don't win a major.
Yeah, you don't win a major in an entire year, which for Atlanta FaZe,
you don't win
squad,
a tournament.
Yeah, for that FaZe squad, it's unheard of after the year they had in Cold War.
Then you go to the championship.
Yeah.
Second to Thieves.
Yep.
We get out of Vanguard. MW2.
Yep.
Major 1, third. They win Major 2.
Yep, they beat the Thieves in Major 2.
Major 3, third. Major 4, third.
Major 5, second. Champs, third. So they've won one major in 2 years.
Yep.
So, I mean, they can get there, but they got to figure out how to not burn out and how to, just
Since Cold War, haven't they haven't been the same team.
no, they have
'Cause
not.
Where you get them winning champs, you get them Major 5. They play 7th to 8th. Huh? They
Okay.
play slow.
So, let's let's move on from Major 1 and let's talk upcoming qualifying matches real quick going into Major 2 because we have some stories of redemption here in these first qualifiers, right? So Friday, February 16th, we've got Miami Heretics versus the Toronto Ultra.
Which I
And
think
I'm taking the Toronto Ultra in that one, 3-0.
I think I think call me crazy. I think Miami's gonna pull it off. I think it's the classic underdog right there.
Okay, I like that. So what we'll do is we'll do a little points system here, and to keep track of our predictions, see who predicts more right. We'll do a point for predicting the winner and a point for map count. If you get the map
Okay.
count right, you get 2 points. Winner 1 point. So there's potential of 3 points on every match.
I think it's a 3-2. I think it's a close game. I think Miami takes it.
Okay,
I think I think Ultra's going to come in overconfident. Scrappy's going to be being scrappy, and they're just going to get too in over their head. They think they're playing one of the worst teams in the league. That gets to their head. I got Miami pulling it off.
I mean, it's tippable to pick the upset on the reigning major champs, because maybe they're still in their little honeymoon phase from winning and they get beat. But I am going to pick against you. I'm going to go Toronto Ultra in a 3-0 fashion.
Fair. It's what they've been doing.
Um,
I wouldn't.
our next
I'd hate to see
our
it.
next
But
match is on Friday. Carolina Royal Ravens and the New York Subliners. It's a
yep.
rematch of losers round 1, where the New York Subliners got 3-1.
And I think they come out of Major 1. I I think that they pick up what they're doing wrong. They find a way to click, and I think it. I think Clay still pulls it off. I think 3-1. I got Clay and the Royal Ravens. I hate to say it, but hey,
Okay. So
I'm
you
not, I can't
think
go against Clay.
you
I
think the
think they
Royal
find
Raven? Okay, so I like this though, because we're not picking the same things every time. So with the game change and everything that's coming, I think the New York Subliners are just gonna completely forget about what happened at Major 1. They're gonna write it off. Doesn't exist. This is the start of the season, new game. I think New York's gonna come out and they're gonna 3-1 the Carolina Royal Ravens.
Here's the thing, though. You know as well as I do. Who do you never count out?
I know Clay is Clay, and
Clay is Clay.
he's the 3 time for a reason. But I think the New
I would
York
love for him to be
Subliners
fourth.
are gonna get them here in a 3-1 fashion.
That's that's fair. I think that's gonna be the series to watch.
Moving into Saturday, we have the Boston Breach versus the Carolina Royal Ravens.
And once again, I think they're gonna rally behind Clay and his experience, his leadership. He may not have the highest kills, he may not have the best objective plays, but I think they rally behind him. And I got Carolina in a 3-0,
I got Carolina in a 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah. I think Carolina wins both the hard points and steals map 5.
Let's see. I'm blanking. We just talked about it and I started blanking. So Priestess Slasher. Cap's
Basin,
gone.
and Snoopy.
Yep, Basin. And you have Pentagram.
That's their sub player, yeah. He's the
Yep.
backup. But moving on, we have Atlanta FaZe versus the Miami Heretics. I mean, I think
I think FaZe comes out like at a hell. Mad at themselves for losing to Toronto twice in the fashion that they did. And I think Miami's going to be on the receiving end of that.
3-0 Atlanta FaZe. That's what
For
I'm saying.
Atlanta FaZe.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
We got the New York Subliners versus Seattle Surge. I'm taking New York in a 3-1 fashion. I think New York wins map 1, map 3, and map 4. I think the Surge steal the S&D.
Gonna take Surge 3-2. It's you got 3 world champs on both teams have 3 world champs, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't see our cities just laying down and letting anything happen against them.
I would like to think the same, but I've heard otherwise out of last year from players. So I'm going to take our reigning world champs in a 3-1 fashion.
There. It's one of my favorite teams right now. And I hate to see how they've been playing.
So, and then I will take on the next map, we've got
LAG versus the
Vegas
Legion.
Legion.
You know, it's a hard one for me. I think I'm going to take Legion
Gonna take the
3-1.
Legion 3-1. Hold on, I'm writing all these down real quick. Because I was not doing that, and we're bound to forget.
That's true.
So you've got Vegas Legion. I'll take the LAG 3-2. And I think Vegas Legion, unfortunately, are on the receiving end of another reverse sweep.
I really hope not.
That would be unfortunate, but you know.
I know it's been a habit for him lately.
And then just to re to to double check, you had Carolina beating the Breach 3-1, right?
I either said 3-1 or 3-0. I think I said sweep.
Okay. I want to give you credit where credit's due, and then we both had FaZe 3-0ing the Heretics.
It's Surge.
And then I had NYSL beating Surge 3-1. And you had Surge 3-2, right?
I believe so. I'll go with it.
Okay, and then I have LAG 3-2 on Vegas Legion. You have Vegas 3-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 3-1.
Okay. Toronto Ultra versus the Minnesota Rocker. I'm going and keeping my streak of Ultra 3-0.
You know, I'm saying that Toronto's gonna lose to Miami. So I think they come pissed off that they lost to Miami and 3-0 the Rocker.
That's a fair pick. Okay, moving into Sunday, we have. Oh, Oh, the last match of Sunday, uh, the 18th, because those were Sunday matches.
We have
We
your
have
team versus
Friday.
my team.
We have LAT versus Optic.
I know who you're taking. You know who I'm taking.
Well, actually, as much as I love the Thieves, I don't think they can beat Optic right now. I just don't think they have it in them.
I got a 3-1. I'm not going to say a sweep. I think LA is going to take at least one map.
I'm also going to take Optic in a 3-1 fashion. And that is purely because I respect what Optic Texas is and has right now. And unfortunately, I just have not seen enough out of the Thieves to pick the Thieves. Now, given in the history of the CDL, the Thieves have had Optic's number, so I could see the Thieves potentially winning this one 3-2.
That's fair.
And that's only because, this is Dan Ghosty's first time playing Optic after being dropped by Optic. He could come out with something to prove. And,
You ready for a bold call on what I think is going to happen with Optic?
I would love to hear it.
I think it's Shotzi's week. I think it's Shotzi's game.
Yeah.
I think Shotzi turns up and shows us what I've been saying he can't do. I think he proves me wrong. Because I've been saying since last year, I don't think Shotzi's it. This is his chance to show me why I'm wrong. And I think he's going to.
I would be happy to see that for a lot of reasons because you're not alone in, I'm not going to call it Shotzi hate because it's not all, invalid criticism, but uh,
Well, I
Shotzi
look
has
at the
been
stats. Whenever he
receiving.
plays good, I give him his credit.
Yeah,
He plays good, but
but what I'm saying
he's
is
wild card.
within the COD community, there's been a lot of talk around Shotzi and Shotzi not being a superstar caliber player. And I can't agree with that. You can't say a world champ and an MVP player is not superstar caliber. Now,
He's a two-time world champ. He knows how to win.
that's what I'm saying. He's won
One of
in
them's in
Halo
Halo, but still.
and he's won in COD. He's won an MVP in COD in his rookie season. So
Yep.
we're not going to sit here and pretend that Shotzi's not a great player, but yes, there are things he needs to work on, and his playstyle does need to change ever so slightly for it to make sense for the team built around him. Because Brandon Dashy is a phenomenal player, one of the straightest shots in all of Call of Duty. In an AR dominant game as the one we're in right now, he needs to be in the mix a little bit more. I think Shotzi needs to slow down a little bit more, play a little bit more objective, and let Dashy be Dashy. Because I like the change in Dashy's game where he's become more win oriented. He's playing the objective, he's playing the hill, he's not being as much of a kill whore. And honestly, I just think that once Optic figures out exactly their roles with the 4 players that they have, they're going to be a dangerous team.
And the 4 players they have are they're all amazing players. I mean, Chalky, I do give him a lot of hate. I do say that he can't do it. He's a I'm reading all the trivia on him right now. He's the first ever multi FPS world champion. He's one of 8 players to win a Call of Duty championship title in their first ever appearance.
Yeah.
He's 2020 MVP, Scuff Team of the Year. He won 2020 Breakout Player of the Year, 2020 Esports Award for Console Rookie of the Year, 2020-2021 League All-Star, 2022 First Team, 2023 Second Team.
Exactly. So Shotzi's phenomenal, and I just think Optic just need to figure it out.
And Pred's a monster.
Yeah, let's not even get
You,
started on the
if you if you if
Predator.
you if you get Pred going, Pred's not stopping. Like even again in the Legacy, they did the Optic Texas versus Legacy. He was dropping 30s on Legacy.
Trust me, I understand, man. It's insane.
And you're playing against Karma,
Scum,
Scump, uh,
Imbos,
yeah, and Crim, and
yeah.
you're dropping 30s on those guys. He's, I mean, that's about the best competition you can have, and your support.
So
And you got arguably one of the best players in history as your coach.
yeah, you got Damon 3 time, man.
I mean, there's not much more that needs to be said about that. You got Karma. Karma is your coach. Karma is gonna tell Shotzi what he needs to do. Karma's been in every situation you can think of. He knows, he clearly knows how to win.
Yeah. So I mean, with that being said, I don't think I have anything else really CDL wise left to talk about. Um, is there
I just think
anything
that
else?
optic team. I think those are four of the top 15 players in the league.
Easily, they just got to figure it out.
Once they do, that's the team you don't want to be seeing.
Yeah,
I
I would agree with that. When they figure it out, they are going to be dangerous.
think that's just about it.
I have nothing left to say really. I mean, I think we've covered really all the roster
Oh,
changes that have been
we
made
did
and
we did miss out on one thing. We didn't talk about the MVP from Major One,
yeah,
Kleenex.
Kleenex. Yeah, I mean, I probably would have personally given it to Insight, but Kleenex did play great, and he's one of those sub players that he's got a lot of pace, but I think he's got a better pace control than a player like Shotzi or Abizi. He knows when to turn it up and when to slow it down, and I mean, the stats don't lie. He put on a show.
He finished with a 1-1 KD, which
As a sub player, that's pretty impressive.
yeah, I I think he's just gonna have his season. He's gonna play it how he, and I don't think there's really much anyone can do to stop it.
And I think the swap for Hixie to Envoy really frees Kleenex up to just have himself a day.
Yeah,
And from there we'll just see the Toronto Ultra keep clicking the way they have been. You know, your 2024 CDL champs very well may be the Toronto Ultra.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
But there are a couple of other teams in there that I would say, if they figured it out, hey Toronto, watch out, because
I am an Optic fan. But
that Atlanta
man,
Fame
what I love,
squad,
I would love to see New York go back to back after the start they had. I would love that.
New York going back to back would be incredible. And I'm gonna throw out my long shot prayer, being a Thieves fan, seeing the Thieves win 2 in 3 years would be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, what I'm gonna take if we want to make wild predictions, I'm going to say taking it all the way. They're gonna click.
You're going who?
Going Optic all the way.
I mean, I would love to see Optic win another one. They haven't won one since 2017.
Yeah,
But
because there's
I'm just saying, you gotta remember the Optic curse. Somebody that has been dropped by Optic the year prior has won champs every single year. Because in Vanguard, Dylan Envoy was dropped by Optic the year before, wins champs. Last year, Troy Cinder Michaels, the coach of the New York Subliners, was let go by Optic, goes to New York. They win a world championship. So the Optic curse lives on.
I think this year needs to be snapped.
And I'm just gonna throw it out there. The LA Thieves picked up Mr. Dan Ghosty, dropped by Optic.
Hey, chill out with that.
But the Seattle Surge tripled down on the Optic curse. They went and picked up Hook, who was dropped by Optic. Illy dropped by Optic. Rambo, the coach, dropped by Optic. So the Seattle Surge are really banking on that Optic curse being true.
This is the far out prediction. I'm going Optic all the way.
Optic to win it all. Far out prediction.
Far out prediction. Major one after Major one prediction.
After
I'm
Major
gonna go
one
Optic.
prediction. You know
We'll
what?
do it after every major.
I'm
We'll
gonna throw a crazy wrinkle in after Major one. Minnesota Rocker win it all. Lamar Accuracy gets another ring or his first ring, I don't know, and he retires.
Accuracy. Does he have he might have a ring.
I know he's gotten second a couple of times. Got second World War II with TK, I believe. He's on that TK team that got second.
He does not have a ring.
So he finally gets his ring and he retires on top. And
He's been in the league he's been playing professionally since 13.
yeah,
11 years.
Yep.
Dang.
Yep.
It's about his time.
The last thing we'll talk about real quick before we send it off. We've lost another member of the old guard. Doug Sensor Martin has officially retired from professional Call of Duty.
Good.
The last of the old guard now is Clayster.
I don't see Clay retiring within the next 3 years.
Well,
I think 3 out of them.
Here's what I will say. Clayster said this year that if he has to go through the roster mania process again, he's done. So this could be the last year we see of Clay. Can he cement his legacy and get a 4th ring? And
him and TJ have played together before, haven't they?
Yeah, they played in Vegas last year together.
I'm talking about way before that.
Man, you're really putting my COD knowledge to the test here. I do not know.
I believe they have played together before.
That would be something you would have to fact check because you're testing my COD knowledge a little too heavy on that. So
let's see, I can get them pulled up real quick. What do I got? I got TJ pulled up on that tab. When did TJ start playing? 13.
He played in 13, then he was too young, and then he came back in 17 for World War II.
But he was still playing for like Aware and little teams.
Yeah, but he couldn't compete in major tournaments because you had to be 18 or older.
So 17 would have been the year he could have came back. Clay was on phase 15 through 17.
Yeah, that was Clay, Zuma, Enable, and Attach. I believe was that phase clan squad.
I guess it was the first time they've played together.
So
it was last year on Legion.
With all that being said, thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and we will see you next week when we follow up with the matches that were played the weekend of February 16th through the 18th. Yep. If you all enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you would like to talk about.
Let us know your picks on all the matches coming up.
Give us your picks down below. Hope you all enjoyed.
Peace.